Skipping 2021, the sedan will only be offered in North America. The Sportback will be in Europe and other global markets off the Volkswagen Group MQB platform. Audi of Clearwater has given us the all-new 2022 Audi A340 front-wheel drive, and the Ibis white striking styling is going to be on the exterior. Rivals like your Cadillac CT4, your Mercedes-Benz A220, your BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe. On the inside, it's all reworked as well, a more modern twist. Only one infotainment screen in the center instead of the dual setup like Audi likes to do. Which one is going to be the sport sedan that you need? Better MPGs, better luxury, and a practical everyday use. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we're going to go over all the specs and details starting now. Audi A3 has made some exterior changes which gives this sculpted styling, making it a more modern, striking presence, and it's almost an inch wider at 71.5 inches. It's about a half an inch taller at 55.7 inches. Audi's single frame grille is going to have the gray interior, the chrome on the exterior, and it just has a nice bulge to it that goes into these LED headlamps with the auto high beams. Underneath the headlamp assembly, you're going to have non-functional vents, and in the center of that single frame grille is non-functional either, but on the splitter part it does set more of an aggressive stance. LED tail lamps with dynamic turn signals. You're going to have the honeycomb grille pattern in the lower part of the rear bumper. Fake exhaust vents, they're going to be in the silver, but it does mask it with 6.3 inches of clearance, making this the best when you're comparing it to the rivals. We have upgraded 18-inch 5Y spoke bi-colored wheels. The disc behind it at 12.3 inches in the front, 10.7 in the rear, a front strut suspension, a multi-link rear suspension. Both the front and the rear will have your coil springs and your anti-roll bars. A weight distribution at around 60 to 40, which is going to be better than the Benz. The length has increased by about 1.5 inches at 176.9 inches, a wheelbase at 103.5 inches. This is still going to be the smallest sedan in the segment. The cargo capacity will be the largest at 11 cubic feet. There's a space saver tire underneath the floor. You have a 12 volt, the rear bench split, turbocharged inline 4-cylinder. Let's go inside and hear that exhaust note. The new Audi A3 definitely has a striking style. The Pano sunroof just really sets it apart too, because it makes the vehicle look a little bit longer even though it's subcompact and it's a little bit smaller than all the rivals. And they back the performance with a 2.0 liter TFSI inline 4-cylinder turbocharged, producing 201 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to a 7-speed S-tronic automatic transmission, achieving 29 to 38 mpgs. That's good for a 0 to 60 around 6.2 seconds, 0 to 100, 15 seconds, with a quarter mile at 14.5 seconds. A top speed, 130 miles per hour. This is going to have more horsepower than the A220. It's going to have less than the CT4 and less torque, but the 0 to 60 numbers and all the numbers we projected are pretty much the same, except you're going to have premium luxury. It's going to look more aggressive for its stance, and it's going to have more room in the interior and cargo. Let me know in the comments what you think about the all-new 2022 Audi A3. As we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Audi A3, you're going to get 36.5 inches of headroom, 41.2 inches of legroom. It's a black leather bucket front seats, 12-way power adjustment for the front seats. You're going to have them heated. You have that contrast stitching, and you have the cloth on the sides. And when you're looking at the setup, it's very modern. So the dashboard has the nice contrast stitching that runs through it, seamless air vents on the passenger side with the Audi badging, encasing with the gloss black, this 10.1 MMI touchscreen. We don't have the navigation. So look into your home button so you can see all the apps in which we have. We do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. Here's for your wedges to make it easier for you to just click into whatever. Click into your vehicle settings here. This you could change the dynamics of the ride. You could do it as individual, so that way you can actually tailor it the way you want for the drive and your steering. You have your dynamic comfort in auto. Switch it to reverse. You do have full trajectory. It is a reverse camera. I do wish that it was the full size, but it does make it easy for your reversing. And the way this dashboard pivots, it actually blocks the sun, so that way it does make it easier for your reversing. As for the way you sit in it, it feels super aggressive because the dash is actually raised up. Your air vents are going to be looking right at you, so the cockpit really has a nice sporty flair. 3-spoke multi-function steering wheel. You got the gloss black around the multi-function and on the center. You got your paddle shifters. The gauge cluster is a 10.25 digital instrument cluster. You can change it to make it look smaller or bigger. You can go through an array of information, your Bluetooth audio. You could go through your car settings as well. Working down in the center, you have your driver mode select, large storage pocket with 2 USB-C ports, the gloss black with your push button start, the push up and down for the gear lever. I think it looks very sophisticated and cool the way they have it structured. Cup holders, you could easily fit a 16.9 ounce water bottle. I'd say a 32 ounce with no problem. An area for your key fob, a 12 volt. Open up inside here, it's not gonna be wide or deep, but you could fit maybe a larger phone. It's not going to be necessarily the softest, but it is more soft than the door panel. You're going to have harder materials that's going to be on the top. You have the platinum gray inlays that's on the door panel. More harder materials, but in the center it's going to be soft. One touch up and down, no dual pane windows. Storage, I'd say you can fit about 4 or 5 16.9 ounce water bottles. The premium gray inserts are going to be through the dash as well and around the center. So giving a little bit of a sporty attribute to the premium luxury. I think Audi did a pretty decent job. Panoramic moonroof doesn't go all the way to the back, but it does go past my head. Let's see how I look in the back. For the back seats, I'm at 36.1 inches of headroom, 35.1 inches of legroom. I'm almost or grazing against the back of the front seat in the position that I'd be sitting. There is storage behind both of the front seats. You do have your climate control vents in the center, and you can make it hot or cold there with 2 USB-C ports. The floor is not completely flat. You don't necessarily sit more inside like the CT4, so the seat or the bench is a little bit more leveled instead of curved, so that way you actually have a pretty decent amount of space. You're going to be sharing a substantial amount, which we'll see in a second, with a center occupant. As for the center, it's going to be soft. Cup holder, 16.9 ounce water bottle, 32 ounce will definitely fit. Door panel, harder materials. You get the platinum gray inlays yet again. Harder materials mixed with soft materials, one touch up and down, and you do have a storage pocket that can fit 2 or 3 16.9 ounce water bottles, which you do not in the Cadillac CT4. So for storage capacity and the way you sit, actually feels pretty decent back here. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, headroom is not necessarily an issue. I'm grazing. Leg space, I'm pretty much against both of the back of the front seats. I am sharing feet, leg, butt, shoulder space, and it's a substantial amount. Sitting into the rear of this is going to be a lot harder than the Cadillac CT4. Can you fit? Yes. It's just going to be a very tight fit with 3 adults my dimensions. If you're looking for the storage in the back seat and to fit 2 adults without any issues, the Audi is the way to go. Taking the 2022 Audi A3 out for our test run. Inline 4-cylinder turbocharged 2.0 liter, 201 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque, 7-speed S-tronic automatic transmission. The 0 to 60 in the 6-second perimeter, so it isn't necessarily too bad. The ground clearance is the best amongst the rivals. The quietness, we're going to actually see how that is, and we're going to see how the dynamics are, so we're going to try to set it a little straight if we can, and here we go. Actually pretty quiet for the most part. You do hear some wind noise through the wheel wells, but everything else is pretty seamless and quiet. No dual pane windows. When we're looking at it from the Cadillac or the Mercedes-Benz, This one holds itself pretty quiet. Audi does a great job with the sound deadening in the vehicles, and you do actually feel like you're sitting lower even though you know you're sitting higher. So I do like that. As for soaking up impurities in the road, it just kind of glides over everything. So it's a very smooth transition. Taking it up on the interstate. It starts to get a little bit more noise through the wheel wells and on the side windows as well. So as you get up to a higher speed, you will start hearing it a little bit more so, but at a lower speed, it does a great job at concealing it. The Cadillac CT4 will be a little bit more quiet than this one, and you have a little bit more of a throaty exhaust. The horsepower and torque will be more in the Cadillac. This is going to be more so powerful than the A220, except for the torque. It's basically hand in hand, the same exact. As for the braking in the vehicle, a little bit of hard braking. I mean, it's a small, compact, luxury car. Does a great job. We're going to stop in the middle of the road if we can. All right, try this again. I'm gonna stop in the middle of the road. Here we go. It's going to be more of a luxury sound than a throaty sound. I do like the feel to the steering. It's not very artificial. It feels pretty composed, and the dynamics, I mean, it does stay planted. There is three things I like and three things that I dislike. Is anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. The three things that I like about it is how the interior has made it more fun. Meaning on the cockpit side, they got the air vents up, so you actually feel like you're in a little sports car. So it really does have a good image with the luxury blend. So I do like where they're going with that. And the steering wheel, everything that's just on the driver's side, great job. The second thing that I like about it is we don't have the dual screen setup. And usually I don't necessarily mind because Audi does a great job with their technology. It's just this vehicle is a little bit smaller, so to put another screen down here, I think it would just be an overkill. So they made a seamless and a modern twist and gave you all the new technology with it as well. The last thing that I like about it is the cargo space is the best. The back seat, you can fit two without any issues, and you have storage in the door bin, which you don't get that in the Cadillac, and you're not going to have as much storage as you do in this one. So being the smallest in the segment, excellent job yet again with how much room they've actually utilized, and they've extended it about 1.5 inches, and you don't really feel it because it's still a small sedan. Three things that I dislike about the vehicle: the horsepower is a little bit low. The torque is okay, 221 pound-feet of torque. I can deal with that, but I would like to see the horsepower around the 240, 250, because if you put that underneath the hood of this, it would be crazy speed. And the dynamics I wish was a little bit more closer to a 50-50 weight distribution. The second thing that I dislike about the vehicle is every single time you come to a stop, the auto start stop is engaged. I'm not really a big fan in it. Just to show you what I mean by the power on this thing. It doesn't necessarily throw you back, so it does keep a composure of a luxury stance. So that is something that, for an everyday use, it's definitely something that will tick all the boxes. The last thing that I dislike is there is just a lot of harder surfaces. When you get into the Mercedes A220, it's very similar as well. So I understand how the European market does their vehicles. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is going to get about 2 in a part lane, some gas to make it rock and roll. Now, I don't feel as secure taking corners at a higher speed. So I will say that it's sport derived, but because the wheels are not necessarily meant for this, it's a little bit more of a luxury with the light play. I wouldn't take corners too excessive, but if you're trying to get those optimal 0 to 60s and 0 to 100 speed, I mean, 15 seconds That's pretty darn quick, quarter mile at 14.5 seconds. So this thing is excellent in the sense for the category that it fits in, you're not gonna really be looking at savings. So it's about the same price point as the Mercedes-Benz, as the Cadillac. It's really gonna be derived to if you need more cargo space, if you need more storage space in the back seats, if you like the most technology in a vehicle, Audi is definitely the blend that you want. I'd like to thank Audi of Clearwater for giving us this 2022 Audi A3 for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click the next video. Click the subscribe button. Check out the details, merchandise, website, everything we do here at Hawkeye Ride.